So this video is how to make a 5-panel cap. So what you'll get is a hat pack that will look like this. You'll have a front panel which has a curved top. The bottom's flat. You'll have two top panels that will look like this, and you'll have two side panels which will look like this. This particular one, this is the inside, this is the outside. Some fabrics are directional, some are not, in terms of like what a face or a front or a back of a fabric are. And you'll also have a pile of lining fabrics which will basically go on the back of the front panel. So you have your front panel, you're going to put these guys just like this, and that will act as the kind of interfacing for the front of that cap. Oftentimes with these 5-panel caps, the liner, the interfacing fabric is going to be a little bit softer than some of the other liners that I use for the 6 panels or the pinch front style caps. But so yeah, before we do anything, we are going to mark our sewing machine for seam allowances. Once again, seam allowances are very important when making baseball caps. So my pattern is set for 3/8 of an inch for the seam allowance. So you're going to take your ruler, and on my ruler here I have it marked right there is 3. So you got 1, 2, 3. This is going to be the 3/8 line. You set your ruler in there, put your needle down on the 3/8 where I have it marked on my ruler, and put a piece of tape down right along the ruler there, and that allows you to reference that over and over. You're also going to want to mark on both sides of the needle. On my sewing machine, this line here is 3/8 on that side, and I have this side marked with a piece of tape. Once again, keeping seam allowances is important for making hats. If you're going to error on one side or the other, you're always going to want to error on the less than 3/8 rather than more than 3/8, because if you go over, the cap is smaller. If you go under, the cap is larger. So after you've marked your sewing machine, we're going to sew the two top panels together first. So this is going to be the very back, this flat part's the front. You're going to put your two side panels, let's see, I'm trying to stay within camera range here. You're going to put your two panels face to face, front, the face of the fabric, the front of the fabric, front to front, and you're going to sew this line here first. You're going to set your guide up to the 3/8, like I said, right at the line that you had set, and you're going to sew this puppy. And you're just going to want to make sure that your fabrics are all staying aligned. That can be more or less tricky depending on the fabric. Alright, so we have this guy there. You're going to take your guide away there. This is going to act as the back hole where I put an adjustment strap later on. So after you take your work out, you're going to do your top stitching. So you're going to unfold your fabric like this. Make sure your fabric stays flat. General rule for when I do my top stitching is I have the seam that we just sewed. I keep that line right in the middle of one of these feet here. So you flip your fabric up, make sure everything's nice and solid in there, and sew your top stitch. Once again, trying to keep that line nice and straight. And you can make this line wider if you'd like. Just make sure you catch all the fabric on the bottom there. That is important, to catch all of the fabric on the bottom. So if you look at the bottom here, we have both sides are caught there. So if you don't catch it, it looks funny. Makes the hat lay funny. Okay, so we have our top done there. So these 5-panel caps generally go a little bit quicker. Now we're going to sew the front to the top, and yeah, make sure you have your interfacing fabric with the face. Basically, they're back to back with the fronts both facing out. And you're going to match, obviously, whatever came in your hat pack is going to match to that, is going to go with that one. So you put your edges, make sure all your edges are all lined up there. Set your 3/8 guide up. I'm going to put my needle in there just to hold it for a second. And so if you look at this here, you can kind of, let's see. You can kind of see that it looks like there's some excess, like some space here. And how you're going to go about doing that is just, you're going to give this guy a little bit of a stretch. This top panel, just a little bit of a stretch there to make sure that the pieces all line up. So